I'm Robin, and I'm going to be catching up on some of the things that Haran stated earlier. On her first point, Haran stated that a second strike stands as a fair warning for criminals not to commit another crime. And balancedpolitics.org tells us that the law applies for 3 convictions, not 3 crimes. So this is saying that criminals get away with several incidents because, unfortunately, there are not cops everywhere, and we're not able to catch every criminal every time they commit crimes, whether they're serious or just as small as stealing something from a little kid. So, for example, a person with 2 strikes can shoplift, get away with it, and not go to prison for the rest of his life because he wasn't caught. Elizabeth Kitchen, she wrote that the law only applies to convictions, therefore a person is arrested, and if a person is arrested and not found guilty, they will not be subject to the 3-strike law. She also says that in today's society, most crimes are committed by repeat offenders. Haran also stated that crimes against another person is approximately 30% of the crimes, and so that just makes us think, do we really want repeat offenders running around our country knowing that 2/5 of their crimes are going to harm another person? There are also about 10,000 drug crimes, which Haran stated, which make up 23% of the crimes, and approximately 13,000 property crimes by 3-strike felons, and that's 30% of the crime rate. So that's just another reason why we don't want these people to be running around our country. On her third point, Haran mentioned that unless people want to spend 25 years in prison, they will refrain from committing crimes. And John R. Schaefer from the FBI stated that there are 815,000 fewer crimes since the 3-strike law has been around. That means that about 8,000 people have thought about what a 3rd strike can mean to their lives. From 1994 to 2000, there were 4,500 offenders put away on a 3rd strike conviction, and again, this is just 4,500 criminals off the streets of our communities. A 15-year report done by Dan Lundgren has showed us that 1,000 violent crimes per year are prevented due to the 3-strike law. Lundgren also shows us that the law significantly reduces felony arrest rates among the class of criminals with only 1 strike by 48%. There was also a Harvard study done by Radha Lingar, and this shows us that the 3-strike law approximately reduces participation in criminal activity by 20% for a 2nd strike offender and 28% for a 3rd strike offender. So that's not a lot that's getting reduced. The people that are going to go back into jail, that's only 20% of them that are reducing their activities. And all of these studies and statistics show us that the 3-strike law is working to reduce the criminal activity in our country and changing the ways that criminals think. An example of how criminals have changed the way they think is shown by a police and parole officer. WashingtonPolicy.org has talked to many officers, and they have stated that since the 3-strikes law, they have seen a change in most of the men. The men also state that they fear the law and do not want to spend life in prison. WashingtonPolicy.org also gives us an example of 2 men that were on their 2nd strike and did not want to have life in prison, so they went to an officer and asked them if he could help them seek help because they were sex offenders. But then again, we have to remember that not every person that is in jail or gets out of jail is going to be able to have that kind of desire to be a better person. This law has reduced crime by about 27%. Brian Brown was correct in saying that the law will reduce crime in two ways, because the law does not remove repeat offenders from communities for a long period of time and deters some potential offenders. Also, if we change the law now, what will happen to the people that are in prison now due to a nonviolent third strike? Do we let them out and have more criminals running the street, murdering people, stealing, and selling crack cocaine? Thank you.